Okay, I think we are live. Hi, everybody. Good evening, and welcome back to Holy Humanist. I hope everyone's good. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, if the sound is good, and if the internet's working. And it might be a little bit noisy from the road outside just because I've opened the window. The heating is on full blast. So let me know if it gets too noisy, and I will shut it. Sorry for being late, actually. I probably didn't make the smartest move, but this is meant to be a celebratory stream for 50,000, essentially to celebrate all of you, really, who have helped the channel grow this much and been an integral part of it. I was a bit preoccupied on X just before I've come live, and I was listening to the story of a victim survivor of grooming gangs, which probably wasn't the best thing to do before a celebratory stream because it has really kind of made my blood boil, and it was just absolutely harrowing to hear her retelling of events and how her life has changed after it. But I guess what it does is give me more purpose to understand why I continue this channel and we keep speaking and we make the crucial links that a lot of people are afraid to make in this country, which is obviously Islam. But yes, let me just say hi to people who are already in the chat. Thank you all for being here and joining me on this. Today, I do hope to talk to some of you, maybe some of you for the first time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Unfortunately, it's not a very fun channel. We talk about quite hard-hitting topics. Lately, more and more so about the rising Islamification of Britain and just like the wider socio-political issues. But yeah, so feel free to, I will put the link out in a little bit. Feel free to jump in and have a chat. I'm very torn between keeping this quite a lighthearted, celebratory, fun stream just to, vibe with you all. But I'm sure it's going to get a bit intense very quickly, as usually happens with topics and channels that, deal with these kind of issues. But yeah, oh my gosh, okay, I see some very familiar faces in the chat and some new faces as well. So I look forward to getting to know you all a bit better today because the channel has grown immensely, I think, since I did my last stream. And yeah, congratulations to all of you. I guess congratulations to us. We've made it this far. I don't know if any of you are enjoying a little drinky drink tonight. Sorry, let me just shut this before it ruins the stream. Yeah, I don't know if any of you are enjoying a little drinky drink tonight, but I guess here's to 50K and here's to another 50K. I'm having a nice little pint of Guinness. It is a Saturday evening after all, so I hope, you guys have poured yourself a nice little tipple. Hisham is saying it's best to keep it lighthearted considering the things going on. I know, Hisham, and that's the thing. I think my last video was, look, I have not been able to be lighthearted the last few days. It's just been like a barrage of things happening, which have really riled me up. But I'm trying to, I don't know. I'll leave it to you all. You've got me this far, this channel this far. So today it's in your hands. Thank you so much, Hadrian. Yeah, I guess before I put the link out, oh, thank you. Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, let me know what you're all drinking if anyone's having a cheeky drinky drink tonight. But I guess we have to let our hair down a little bit with everything going on. But yeah, it's obviously not been an easy ride to get to this point, as I'm sure a lot of you who have followed from the beginning would know. Speaking about Islam openly in Britain is not as easy as one would hope. I think this country used to be very, very good for hosting dissidents and tolerating different viewpoints. And lately it just seems like we could come under just as much fire or get cancelled, so to speak, or lose your job and a bunch of other things. Not to mention the bounty that Islam puts on any kind of, crazy fanatic who one day decides to take it a bit too seriously and come after you for criticizing an ideology, which is very much allowed, or criticizing he who cannot be named in their ideology for certain actions of his, which also very much should be allowed. So I'm very grateful for everybody who is subscribed to this channel, because it means that you rise above that. You will not cower to that fear, to the silencing, to draconian terms like Islamophobia and draconian efforts like the pushing of an Islamophobia bill in this day and age. So yeah, I think it's only because I have the support, and every time I do a video on something like this, I do feel the support and it keeps me going. Otherwise, this kind of activism is extremely isolating, I guess. And I think for a lot of people, it's just not worth the personal sacrifice that comes with it, which naturally will come with it, because you think that, people will allow you to coexist and have your views, and things can just carry on ticking over like all tickety boo. But at some point you'll realize that you will come to an impasse of some kind. And before you know it, you need to make sure that, people at work aren't trying to scheme and cancel you. Because usually when you do get bigger and bigger in this world of activism, you're just one Google search away from them showing a video to your employer, or, your family saying, we can't deal with this anymore, it's too risky, or you're putting yourself on the line too much, or we just don't agree, you cannot isolate or turn on a community, i.e. your own community, like this, you're being a traitor. So as we've seen throughout history, standing for what you believe in and for your values is not always the easy path in life. But hey ho, here we are, Guinness in hand, and you all here with me. So we plod along, really. Okay, I don't know if anyone had any specific things they want me to address before I open up the floor. If there is, feel free to pop it on in the chat. Oh, thank you. I haven't seen so many of you for so long. It's so nice to reconnect. I feel like I should do this more often. I haven't done a live in a very long time, so forgive me if I'm a bit rusty today. But yeah, if you want to, every time you hear the word Allah, insert the words Harry Potter and you'll be much happier. Yeah, and Muhammad, Voldemort, you might be a lot happier. Happy Halloween to anyone celebrating. I hope you had a good one yesterday, if you went trick-or-treating or dressed up. And yeah, oh, thank you, Milind, sorry if I said that wrong. Cheers and congrats on your 50K. Yes, let's hope for 50K more. Let's keep growing and growing, and then we'll be unstoppable, we'll be uncancelable, we'll be unsilenceable. Oh, thank you, Baz. Baz is saying, we appreciate your loyalty and sacrifices you've made, Nuria. You're no traitor, your loyalty, your home. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Maybe tell that to the Muslim Pakistani community, but I don't think they're my community anyway anymore. So it's all good. And you know what? I sleep very well at night knowing that I've spoken up for what I truly believe in. And as I mentioned in a plethora of my interviews, especially when I was speaking to Tommy Robinson for the first time, and I think he said to me, like, why, what spurs you on when, it's so risky to do this? And I genuinely just think it becomes a moral duty if you've experienced Islam and then you've seen it firsthand and you know what's written in it, and you can see all the, all the negativity in the world, what's happening across the globe, everything from Sudan to Afghanistan to Iran to the streets of London. There is definitely a common denominator, and we're all kind of fighting this fight in different ways, Israel more so. And therefore, it's just almost impossible to keep quiet. I don't think I'd be able to live a life where I don't speak out against Islam. And that's why I think I am where I am at the minute. Pseudo Stoic is asking a question. Sorry, I'm trying to... Can you... Oh, this is an English stream, but I do speak Urdu, but I guess that's for another day. Okay, I think that I'll put the link out so we don't waste any time. And without further ado, I get to hear from all of you. And I guess, obviously, as with open live streams, I don't usually do them just for safety. And I guess keeping the stream very much on topic. And I usually just put out videos long form ones of topics that interest me. So I am a bit wary of this format. I don't really like the format of just, like 12 people on stage and conversations going on for hours and hours. But I'm going to try and do, I guess, like a mini format version of that. I would request that maybe if when I put the link out, if you just in the private chat, maybe give me a little intro about yourself, because obviously I don't want to jeopardize the stream, but also I don't want to have people on who are coming just to disrupt the stream, or given the nature of the topic, or demonetize this platform, which I've worked very hard to get to this point. So yeah, I've just got to do a little bit of housekeeping. I hope you don't mind. It's just part and parcel of the territory, I'm afraid. And I guess the few little housekeeping rules would be that please try to keep your conversation quite concise. Like I said, we can have a normal chat. That's what the stream is about. But please, like, obviously general sweeping generalizations of certain groups or people or even Muslims won't be tolerated. Bigotry of any kind won't be tolerated. Any kind of racial abuse, all of that kind of jazz. It's in the about page. The same rules apply. Let's just keep it civil, keep it clean, and have a nice time. Exactly, Hisham. Let's keep the conversation civil. Okie dokes. Okay, I know a couple of people who are already backstage. If you're new and I've never spoken to you before, and I've never spoken to you in comments or anything, please just let me know who you are in the private chat. Otherwise, I think we've got Baz backstage. I have come across Baz before. Baz, hi, welcome to Holy Humanist.
Hello, Naria, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Baz.
Excellent. I'll just be very brief because I'm only going to say some words of support. You're the expert on Islam, so I can't bring my cards to the table with that one. But I was just going to say I can't even remember what video of yours I first saw. It's so long ago now. But what I was going to say, Naria, is I want to thank you for your loyalty to Britain. I want to thank you for everything that you've done. Don't ever, ever, ever feel ashamed that you had to open a GoFundMe or anything, because you deserve the support. When I do send you support, though, I always send it through PayPal because I know you get the full amount then. But
right.
I tried to send help Lubna out as well, and Shoab and everything. And I was just going to say as well, I don't know your opinion about this or how you feel about this, but if you do want to get out of, I know there's these HMOs everywhere, and we're all worried about the whole country. But if you feel that London is getting too much, don't ever feel you're not welcome in the countryside or rural parts of Britain, because I know
I
that.
absolutely love the countryside, Baz. I really do. It's gorgeous out there. You can see the whole solar system on a nice day. But to be honest, I am a born and bred Londoner, and I just feel like, you got to better your neighborhood before charity begins at home, kind of thing. I would love to escape that way if things ever got really bad.
Well, if it
but
did,
for now, stay put.
If it did, and you can't cope and you need to set up a GoFundMe, don't feel we'll help you out. Don't worry.
Oh no, thank you, Baz, and it means a lot. Obviously, the support that is behind myself and activists for when we need it. Really, really appreciate people like you. I see you in the comments all the time, and they really like you. You bring a smile to my face each time. But yeah, whenever you're in London, I know you think of London as this final outpost against Islam, but do come over London side sometime, and we're happy to show you around and show you the parts that are still worth seeing and worth being proud of, though they're few and far between. There is, yeah.
Okay then. That's all I can add, really. No, I was just trying to offer some support, and congratulations on 50k. It should be 10 times the amount that, but thank you for your bravery and everything that you've done and all the sacrifices you've made. I do appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Baz, and I appreciate all your support, and I look forward to interacting with you a lot more.
Maria, we British have got to look after each other, and that's that.
Absolutely. And can I just, if I may, can I ask you a quick question? When did you realize that maybe Islam was a problem in Britain?
Well, I know you two have your different approaches, but Lubna,
Right.
yeah. Well, the thing is, where I am, I'm about 45 minutes drive from Birmingham, and I have had I've had some experiences with Muslims, but nothing major. Nothing major, but obviously I've noticed since the past few years, stuff on the internet and stuff in the news. I think you saw my tweet not long ago because I used to watch GB News a lot, Nana Aquia, and since they've started having that Fahima on, she's dreadful. I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch it anymore.
Is that the lady with the headscarf?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I can't watch GB News anymore. I just can't. It's the Nigel show, isn't it? So,
Yeah, it seems like it's the mouthpiece for the Reform Party and it's the Nigel show. And I completely agree with you. Like, I guess, whether it's Ofcom or what have you, but they've asked for them to balance the debate. And I think their version of balancing the debate is bringing on a Muslim apologist, unfortunately, who is completely, honestly, I find her so insufferable. She rarely engages with the argument and she's just kind of always off on one. And you're just like you, I either have to mute it or change the channel entirely. But there we are. That's why I'm really grateful, as I mentioned in my last video, for the new emergence of kind of independent voices, independent journalists, citizen journalists, because some of them are actually on the ground, actually covering protests that the mainstream media would never even let you know are happening. So I think it's really important. Obviously, GB News as well. It cannot be the one and only place we get our news from.
Exactly. I always listen to the citizen journalists. I know you can't trust all of them, but I trust them more than the mainstream media, obviously. So yeah. I don't know if you want to go to the next person now. I'm just going to say, obviously, because I know that YouTube isn't your full-time job, I know, but I don't know if you're aware of an ex-Muslim called Ellie. She's a white British convert called Ellie.
Okay.
Have you heard of her?
No, I haven't.
Oh, well, it'd be wonderful to see you two have a conversation together because she's a British. Well, you're British, but what I mean is she's mixed race, but she's come from an Irish, British background, and she was a convert to Islam, and then she left. So obviously, you two, because you were born in it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because you was born into the
faith.
Yeah. Oh no, don't say that. I'll never agree with that word.
I'm messing with you. Yeah.
Yeah, but because you were born into the faith, and obviously she converted for some time, and you've both got different interesting perspectives about it. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I'll look her up. But as you said, yeah, because this isn't my full-time gig,
no worries.
The time I have few and far between, I will definitely. I think it's really important that people who have reverted or converted and then they come out and share their side of Islam, because obviously people born into it, like myself, vis-a-vis people who have been given the spiel of dawah or whatever they were told to, accept this religion at whatever degree. They really use certain tactics, and they more often than not prey on people going through something or being very vulnerable at a certain point in their lives, and it's only when you kind of want to get out of it, or you want a divorce, or you want something serious in terms of your life situation, that you realize you were fed this massive lie. So I think that's a whole nother host of like the way Islam affects you versus somebody like myself who just is born into it, reads it one day and thinks, oh my God, this is awful. So yeah, I will definitely do my best to look into her channel and set up a conversation. Thank you, Baz.
I just want one more quickly thing. Obviously, what was I going to say? Yes. Obviously, you've said you want to stay in London, but never ever feel that you don't have the support, Naria. And if you are welcome, any rural place in the UK, I promise. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Congratulations on 50k. It should be 10 times more than that. And it's nice to speak to you for the first time. Take care, Naria. You're a hero.
Oh, cheers, Baz. Take care. Look after yourself.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Okie dokes. We have got Hadrian in the house, who is an old friend of the channels. Hadrian, I will add you to the stream. Hiya.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, congrats on your 50k.
Thank you.
I still remember around what 2020 or 2021 when you had started this channel, and I think in 2022 was the first time I discovered this channel with others, right? And it's been what, like, so 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah, my gosh, yes.
Quite a journey, eh? So that was day one somewhere in 2021, I guess, and now it's day whatever. So congrats on the 50K. Thank you for what you did, and thank you for doing what you're doing. And how does it feel? The past past 4 years, since you created the channel, like, did you learn something new? Did you have any opinions before that you changed over the years after experiencing life as an activist in the ex-Muslim cause? Like, so how do you feel? Just say something generally. I just came here to say that, like, so yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Hadrian. You've been a friend of the channels right from the get-go, so we go way back. And I know, obviously, I've interviewed you about your journey leaving Islam, so you've definitely contributed a lot to where this channel is at. It would not get to this stage without you. So first of all, thank you. And yeah, I guess obviously, I think in this like field of activism and being on YouTube and doing this work over time, you learn a lot. First of all, you learn how to try and edit videos in a decent amount of time. You learn how to put videos together. You learn how to deal with sane threats and all kinds of backlash from Muslims, which makes you, have a lot thicker skin than when you first start. I remember I was kind of shaking in my boots when I did my first few posts, whereas now I'm just, when I get, backlash from Muslims, it's kind of just white noise for me, which I'm grateful for, because I think you need to have thick skin if you're in this game. And I guess, yeah, I think if somebody's seen my channel from the get-go up until this point, I think you can genuinely like track the evolution of my ideas and my viewpoints. I'm embarrassed to say it a little bit, but I think I left Islam and just left Islam, but I was still very much a lefty in all my kind of politically, in terms of, who I would initially vote for and where I thought my values aligned. And I guess they evolved over time as I became more and more stringent with my activism, when I saw what was happening in the world. Obviously, world events really triggered me to introspect and see things differently. When I saw the behavior of certain Muslim communities, when I heard the deafening silence from them, and, in terms of things that have happened in the UK, when I see just general things around me, I think it's really shaped me into the way I see the world today. And I think it's a very natural evolution of ideas. Having said that, I try and keep an open mind, and I'm always, open to changing my mind based on new evidence. And I think I'm hopefully like that's a good place to be. But before, I guess I would be a bit more fearful to stand for my convictions, whereas now, because all the values I stand for are my own. As you know, Hadrian, when you leave Islam, everything crumbles. You have to build your world back up. Like, what are my morals? What are my values? What do I stand for? Foreign policies? Where do I, like, all of these things become yours to create. So yeah, I think I've just really evolved as a person. And I'm still hopefully trying to improve, work on my public speaking, work on the way I deliver information, the way that I record and execute videos. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. I should have reflected a bit more prior to coming on.
No, that was beautiful. Like, you just summarized in essence what it's like to be born again, which is basically when you live Islam. But now, unfortunately, it metaphorically does mean like being born again, because when you're born, you're naked, you're alone. You feel fortunate enough you have parents, but like in this sense, you kind of lose your family or society if you're not careful. And moreover, you also learn that there are so many things about the world that you don't know about, right? So now you have to learn from scratch, research, think about which side you are on, and while at the same time you're trying to explore yourself, like, or discover yourself. You don't even know like what you stand for. Like, it's a huge challenge, right? And like, and in your, yeah, like, you have so many guests over your channel. I'm sure, like, those are reflected, in all of their experiences. And it's ironic, like, or it's not ironic that, we come across and we openly say that we change our minds, right? Like, previously we used to be affiliated with one kind of group, but then after a certain event we change it. And this is something that we propagate online, like, based on scientific evidences and whatnot. You change your mind. So, and your channel is a great example for that. So thank you for taking me. I'm not sure what you have planned, but you have other speakers, I believe, in the chat. So spend some time with them, and continue doing this, and hopefully we'll make a show out of it. So thank you.
No, thank you, Hadrian, and thank you for standing by the channel. And I look forward to many more streams with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, bye, Hadrian. Okay, lovely jubbly. So let me know in the comments, is anyone who's having a little drink tonight? What are you guys all up to? And I will answer the super chats, I guess, after the next caller. So thank you for everybody who is sending in super chats. I promise you I will get to them. So the next caller, I believe you've written something in the private chat. I recognize your voice. Okay. Right. I guess I haven't spoken to you before, but I will welcome you to the stage in a moment. I'll just take a stand. Yours truly, I believe. Welcome to Holy Humanist.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I remember when you were with Sultan, whatever his name was.
Oh, right, Harris Sultan, yes.
Harris Sultan, yeah. And then that all broke up, and that was kind of the end of it. So for a while, and then you came back. But anyway, congratulations on your 55,000 subscribers. Glad everything is going well with that. And glad you're enjoying your nip of beer tonight in the UK. I'm across the pond in New England.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So
beautiful out there. I've heard New England.
So beautiful. The leaves have been changing in the last couple of weeks. Orange, green, yellow, gold. Just beautiful countryside. Wow. So hope you can get to New England at some point. Yeah. And so my real question to you is, or at some point you can address it in one of your YouTube videos, is this issue. If we meet with individual Muslims, there's many of them are lovely people. They're wonderful, great moral values, law-abiding, et cetera, and then you get into a larger and larger and larger group, and the whole dynamics change when there's a large number. This introduction of Sharia law or blasphemy rules or this or that or bending the knee, etc. So hopefully in one of your future videos you can tackle that issue. I hope you will, because there's a lot of people who say Islam, that's fine, that's just another religion. And I've met Muslims, and they're wonderful people, and they are. The vast majority of them are. But when it becomes a larger group, the whole society seems to change. And that's something I can't really wrap my head around, how that works out. And I'm hoping you can do some thinking about that and come up with some ideas about that in the future. So, yeah, thank you for all you do. And it's really excellent.
Oh, thank you so much. And you raise also, I would love to come to New England one day, especially in the autumn, as you've described. Yeah. It's on my bucket list. Absolutely. But yeah, no, you make a very good point. And I think, yeah, it does deserve a video in its own right, to be honest, because it is obviously, I always say this as well, Muslims individually, that's why I never tar them all with the same paintbrush, because there are different strands of Islam as well. Although I think that the mainstream viewpoint of it is the most dangerous, but there are various strands, and a lot of Muslims are just very kind of benign with the way that they approach their faith. But then, as you said, like when you see Islam in large numbers, the kind of tribalistic, totalitarian Islam becomes the given phenomena, and then they try to make that into, the really push that into every aspect of life. And I think you've seen that in some American cities and towns where they've tried to make enclaves similar to what we've got over here, where we consider them, I guess, no-go zones. And, you know, they try and have their own Sharia patrols, and they effectively bar any non-Muslims from, you know, coming there, and think that for all intents and purposes, UK legislation doesn't apply to them because they can play by their own rules in those areas. So it is definitely a manifestation that you see when Islam, you know, crosses, I guess, a critical mass to some extent in various places. But thank you, yours truly. I will definitely consider that. I'm always looking for new topics to make videos on. So yeah, I will bear that in mind for sure.
Yeah, congratulations on the 50,000, and we'd love to have you in New England, and stay strong because you're really important. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Yeah.
Bye. Okie dokes. That was lovely. It's actually so nice chatting to all of you. I think I should do this more often when I get the time. I've got Jake waiting patiently backstage. Sorry, Jake, I see you. I do see you. I'm just going to quickly read some super chats, and then I promise we will have a chat. Thank you all for the super chats. Richard the Iman has said, sending love, Nuria. How many Muslim women have told you that you have inspired them? Well, first of all, thank you for the love, Richard, and the support. Gosh, it would be hard to quantify that exactly, but I guess I would say enough of an amount to make me think this work is very worthwhile. I used to get very excited. Oh, I still get very excited. It's wrong to say I used to, but I mean, I used to post every single time a Muslim woman had seen something or heard something and let me know that she left Islam because of it. But again, life gets in the way, and then I lost momentum in that, and I couldn't post every single time. I get emails every single day of, you know, all sorts of emails, but enough of people saying, wow, like, thank you for opening up my eyes. Obviously men as well, but there is something distinctly like satisfying about a woman leaving Islam, especially when I receive a message or a DM that, you know, I'm done with it, or I'm just teetering on the verge of, is it really, like, can I trust everything my mind is telling me to leave? And then we have a little mini conversation, and they're like, yep, you know what, that's it, I'm done, sayonara Islam. And for me, there is nothing as satisfying as that, because I do genuinely believe that when more and more women walk away from Islam, the religion its power will start to crumble, because a lot of the women, you know, enable the misogynistic, patriarchal, extremely sexist aspect of Islam to continue. And there's not many women who are in that kind of privileged, safe space to be able to turn their backs on Islam without any societal repercussions or losing family, or more importantly, like if you're a mother, losing your children, and or, you know, losing your financial stability. And especially in Muslim countries, like, what do? They don't have refuges and services where you're able to do that. I mean, even in Britain, I feel like somebody sent me an email saying we need like an apostasy protection program, or apostate protection program in the UK. And I thought that was such a splendid idea, because even in this country, I'm sure there's plenty of people behind closed doors who would like to not wear the hijab, or, you know, say this isn't for me, but they are bound by circumstance, unfortunately. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Dexter's Lab, thank you for the super chat, Dexter. Can you please explain Islam's reaction to the Muslim genocide in China? I don't know if you mean Islam's reaction or Muslims' reaction, but I guess from a Muslim's perspective, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance when it comes to what's happening with the Uyghurs in China, especially because a lot of the Muslims, I mean, surprisingly or non-surprisingly, depending which way you look at it, look to China as the emerging superpower that could rival the West. And as you know, many Muslims are quite anti-Western in their outlook. And so they tend to turn a blind eye to China's human rights violations. You've got people like world leaders from Muslim countries who are absolutely silent on the matter. I think when Imran Khan from Pakistan was like probed on the matter because of, you know, Pakistan and China have a lot of business dealings and there's a lot of influence that way. He was asked, what about the Uyghurs and their treatment in China? And he genuinely said, like, that's an internal issue that we're discussing with China. He could barely even address it and call it out for what it was. And it's just the constant downplaying of something that is clearly one of the biggest human rights violations happening to Muslims. But like anything in any major conflict, when it's not in the interest of Muslim communities to speak out on those like issues, or they go against their very held worldview, they tend to be quieter on those issues. We see the same thing when it's Muslim on Muslim violence. I've encountered that a lot. It's almost just like whataboutery for something that the West has done back in the day, as opposed to facing that head on. So yeah, that would be my little 2 cents on that for now. Thank you, Dexter. Tiabeth of Borg, thank you for your support. There was no question or comment or anything, but thank you. I really appreciate that. And Dale, Dale's in the house, long time. Well, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member, Dale, and I hope you're doing well. If I'm not mistaken, you were supposed to start a YouTube channel quite a while ago, so I'm going to hold you to that, and I'm going to continuously hold your feet to the fire. I look forward to your YouTube channel being launched, and let's have a chat on there when it's up and running. Thank you, though. Cosmokrish, thank you for the super chat. Cosmokrish is saying, hey, Nuria, been a fan of yours for ages. I'm curious, were you immediately drawn to atheism as soon as you left Islam? Ooh, that's a great question. So I guess what I would say to that is when I left Islam, I just took a moment to evaluate, like, okay, if not Islam, then what? And I guess in that then what, there was like a very, very teeny inkling that I had to pick up on ideologies that I had just found interesting, even in my past as a Muslim, because when I was a Sunni Muslim, I did gravitate towards Sufism quite a bit. So I liked that. But like, I mean, I liked what I thought Sufism was, which was God is love and love is God. That also turned out to be a complete farce. But I was kind of dabbling in that, or like philosophies, you know, to that extent of like love and divinity is the way forward. I guess spiritual leanings, with kind of a, you know, a hint of esotericism or mysticism, if you will. But I quickly, and I would say quickly because I didn't do it with any serious like desire to make or break my decisions, but I just looked into Buddhism a little bit more. I looked into some Eastern philosophies, Taoism. I've just read a bit more on Confucius, but more just to, you know, explore what was out there as opposed to finding something I really needed to believe in. And yeah, because Islam linked itself very much to Abrahamic religions, I just thought, like, I need to do away with this for now. I just need to, I want to experience the world from what just the actual evidence is around me. And if I can't see something or explain it with my own eyes, I don't want to believe it at the moment, because Islam had like pulled the wool over my eyes for so long, and it had told me so many things that were just, you know, absolute lies. It was one of the biggest cons, and it's been happening for generations. I think if Islam's been in my family, you know, for generations, and I'm the first one to leave it, then this con has been working on people. And so you're so dejected by the fact that this lie has been propagated out of, like, you know, Bedouin Saudi Arabia, or Petra, or whatever theory you aspire to believe in. It's just, I just needed to follow the evidence. And for me, it was embracing a world of rationality. And I was very grateful to, you know, give science some credence, which I hadn't before. So that's kind of where my line of thinking took me after Islam. And I hope that answers your question. Oh, Norse mythology, long time. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're well. And thank you for the super chat. It's beer money. White wine is probably better. No, you know what? White wine is actually, I guess, full of sugar as well. So I'm trying to step back from wine and drink things that have less sugar, but, you know, still taste nice, I guess. So I'm on the Guinness tonight, but thank you so much. I do miss red wine though. I love that is my poison of choice, and I absolutely love a glass of like Shiraz or Malbec. But I'm trying to be good and, you know, cut the calories and just have a clearer mind. So anyway, thank you though. Okay, Jake, I realize I've kept you waiting patiently behind the curtains. So without further ado, I will bring you onto the stage. Jake, welcome. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yes, I'm delighted to make your acquaintance. I've been an admirer of your work for some time, and very much appreciate how difficult it is to stand up for things that you believe in. And I'm delighted for you as well that you've reached 50,000. So congratulations for that. And yeah, I wanted to talk to you about Islam as a totalizing psychic infrastructure, because yeah, because just to explain a little bit about me, so I'm currently studying for a PhD in American Studies, where I'm looking at humanism, funnily enough, in Confederate statues and whether or not they ought to have been removed. And I don't think they do, but that's not important. And also, I was an English teacher for 15 years in girls' grammar schools. So the reason I mentioned that part is because I grew up in a all-female household, so I never had any male role models. So for me, when I see strong women, I'm very much drawn towards that and to want to help them, because that's something that I've done as a career and also something that I grew up with. Although now I'm medically retired because I have narcolepsy, so I don't stay awake that well. But when I first, because I'm from a very rural area, I'm from Suffolk, I never met anybody who was a Muslim until I was 25. And that was when I did teacher training, because there just isn't a population around here. There's no, as far as I know, there are no Pakistani immigrants in my town, which only has 5,000 people, or the next town, which is 10,000 people. But in between, there's just fields and cows.
Oh gosh, yeah, you must be able to see the stars out there.
Oh yes, you can see the stars. Yes, I have a couple of telescopes actually for doing precisely. Oh, yeah, it's lovely. So what was I saying? Ah, yes, Islam. So I first met a Muslim when I was 25, a teacher training, yeah. And we talked about it a lot. He told me all about it. Well, we became very good friends, and in fact, when I got my first job, we ended up sharing a flat for a year. So I learned even more about it then. And it all seemed very good. And I thought, well, it sounds quite interesting. It sounds like quite a pure version of religion. There's just one thing to think about. And I thought, well, it's not enough to convert me, but okay, I understand it a bit better now. And when I taught, again, there were very few Muslim children. I worked in the Medway towns, so again, there's not a huge Pakistani population there. It tends to be in London, as I'm sure you know, which obviously isn't that far away from Medway towns. And one thing I noticed was that the parents there were incredibly friendly, incredibly supportive, which is very much something to be thankful for as a teacher, as it's a very thankless task. And I just found that the parents were really wonderful as being part of a community, and they would do things like sometimes they'd give me a free ride in a taxi, or they'd knock some money off a takeaway and things like this because I taught their daughter, or they had a sister who knew who I was or something like this. So that was good. And then about a year ago, I started to go quite regularly on Lubna's channel, and that's when I started to learn a lot more about Islam that I hadn't learned before. And also from your channel as well, which is that I noticed that there's a public face of Islam, but there's very much a private aspect of it that is kept hidden, and that they want to be kept hidden. And I think that for centuries have hidden behind the fact that people are ignorant of Arabic, but now the internet has shown everybody what the book actually says. And I've been really, really shocked at the things that I found that are in there, and I just despair that anybody can follow it, to be perfectly honest. And I was interested in what you said before about following the evidence, because again, over the past year, I've put my literature and research skills to doing precisely that. And I looked into Islam, and there's no evidence whatsoever for it, in terms of archaeology, in terms of literature.
You're just Islamophobic, Jake. That's it.
I am. I'm a right-wing thug. I've been called it many times. But there's no evidence whatsoever to support it in any way. It's quite clearly, if you look, I'm sure you have yourself, but if you've ever looked into the way that myths are constructed, it fits that every single aspect of it precisely. So there might have been a person who had the name of this prophet. I don't know, but I doubt it, because there just isn't the evidence to prove it. But the thing that's really, really shocked me, though, and this is getting after that long introduction of getting to the reason that I wanted to speak to you mostly, was because I was really, really appalled at the way that women were treated, and things that are just kept from ordinary people who don't understand Islam, such as your experiences with marriage and the laws that are put on women, the sort of second-class status that women are put under, and also the thing that I think is the most shocking for me, that I've come to realise, is there's also no concept of the term consent either, and that was really the most worrying thing for me. And that's without looking into any of the things that are happening in our country. So that's why I sent you an email, and I said I'd really like to talk to you about how does it work on the mind, because I'm really interested in how it gets you and what makes it so powerful.
Oh, I love, first of all, Jake, oh no, I love that. I remember when I saw your email, I was like, no, this is like, you have grasped like the Islam's modus operandi to the T, you know, like it's an absolute totalizing structure, in the sense that, and this is, even as an ex-Muslim, like I will say this, I can appreciate the way Islam works. I can appreciate the strength that it has over one's psyche and the human experience. And on, like, just to follow that line, I can understand why people are drawn to it. And I can especially understand why, you know, people who see the world full of wrongs, or are slightly vulnerable, or are looking for something that provides a complete answer, would turn to this type of ideology, because it's not just the physical, it's the moral, it's the social, it's the economical. And it actually, you know, even if you delve into the way you pray 5 times a day, and the repetition, and the way that the Quran is meant to be read, almost hypnotically, if you go to madrasas, especially madrasas in like the Arab world and Pakistan, you actually see boys like rocking back and forth and reciting it as if they're like, you know, singing poetry. It's got like this kind of trance-like hypnotic effect on, and it does that on one's mind, and it expects you to kind of just repeat things and do everything in odd numbers, and, you know, and be so preoccupied with that, almost that, you know, the complete banal, so that you're not thinking of the bigger things in life. Is this crap even true? Like, what am I doing this for? So I'm really glad that you see it completely for what it is. It's like you know, Occam's razor, all of it, and you're like, this is this totalizing ideology, and this is why it has that effect on people.
Well, I'm trying to understand it. I wouldn't say that I understand it exactly just yet, but the one thing that I do find deeply fascinating, though, is that being born into that religion, the thing, I keep saying the thing, there's many things I'm shocked by, but being born into it, that, and then leaving it, is very, very different from, for example, when Baz was on earlier, he was talking about Ellie, who has a channel as well. And I do a lot of work with her. She's a good friend of mine, and I understand exactly why she went into Islam, because it offered her something that other religions don't. This is the thing I really didn't know that Islam did. I thought it was just a religion. What I didn't appreciate is that it is a complete political ideology, as well as a manual for living, and I don't think most people do understand the depth of it. And so for you, coming from that environment where that is all you've ever known, that must have been such, I can't even put into words how difficult that must have been to have come to the decision that you did.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, I think I've I think this is one of my videos that is to be released. But I talk a little bit about the fact that when I was a Sufi, when I was a like Sunni Muslim, as I was born up as, and then moving to Saudi Arabia kind of shook my faith in various ways, and I saw full-on Islam, you know, in on display completely in every aspect of life. I saw the gender apartheid. I saw the hudud punishments, which are like the Islamically ordained kind of barbaric punishments. I saw the discrimination towards other sects of Islam that weren't Sunni, so the Shias, and God forbid you say that you're anything else, but the Shias, all of my Shia friends in Saudi Arabia had to kind of stay undercover, and you can sometimes tell by somebody's last name if they're a Shia Muslim. And nobody in my school, even though I went to a British international school, would admit that they were Shia, but you'd tell that on the weekends they wouldn't go to the same mosques of Friday prayer that Sunnis would go to. They'd go to like their own underground mosques, so to speak, and like they were kind of a very tight-knit community. And that opened my eyes to like, wow, just because Saudi Arabia doesn't like them or like to tolerate them, they have taken this kind of more, you know, like kind of subjugated position in this society. And then I saw English white women be told to cover up by the morality police because they were knocking about when I was there. And I saw that the same rules applied to them for, you know, head coverings as it did to Muslim like women, enforced with punishments as well. I saw that the way that they would tell Muslim men, if they're, let's say they were driving home, my dad or my friend's dads, and there was the call to prayer going off, the religious police would force them to pull their car to the side and pray. So it was very like these things were playing on my mind as a child. And then moving to Dubai, I had kind of Islam light of an experience, and I thought this is much nicer. But still, when I was grappling with like, why does, okay, I believe in Sunni Islam, fine, you can consider Saudi Wahhabi Islam, you can consider Dubai a slightly kind of, it's got one foot in the modern world, so that's better. But it still wasn't okay for me because I liked my colorful life. I liked talking to boys. I wanted to start going to nightclubs. I wanted to drive. I wanted to, you know, try a drink. I was like a normal teenager, and I thought, wow, the confines of Islam is so boring and so like it's just so it sucks the joy out of life. Like you can't do anything. And I would always say to my parents, like, oh, why couldn't we be born Christian, or why couldn't we be born Druze? Like at least they get to have fun, you know, like you're allowed to drink some wine, you're allowed to let loose a little bit. And that's when I went towards Sufism, because that was kind of more very chill in its prescriptions. It was a lot of Sufi orders believe you can drink because it brings you closer to God. And I thought, oh yeah, that's something I can get behind.
I'd like to know more about Sufism at some point.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. Honestly, music as well. They had I love music, and they have a great appreciation for music. So these tools like drinking, music, all kinds of things you could dabble in that get you closer to God, I was very much a fan of. And I thought, but my point is, sorry, I'm rambling, but my point was that when I was going on this kind of journey to see what would fit my colorful lifestyle, I could never conceive of anything outside of the confines of Islam. I was only kind of moving between Islam. It was not a thought in my mind that I could say at any point in my life that I'm not a Muslim. I just thought you're born a Muslim and you die a Muslim. I didn't know there was any way out.
So how did that change, that mindset? Because now you've explained it in that way. It's really, I'm just trying to put into my mind now, how can you go from having this totalizing worldview, what aspect of it was enough to bring it to make it crumble, and what gave you the strength to want to go through with it as well?
Well, it comes back to your what you alluded to earlier when I was talking about following the evidence. So you can operate in a state of cognitive dissonance for a long time. And I will go as far as to say a lot of Muslims that I know, probably within my own family, and other liberal Muslims or secular Muslims or feminist Muslims, my favorite, they can operate in this level of cognitive dissonance potentially for the rest of their lives. But when I needed to get out of my marriage, but a Sharia law was put on me thankfully, I had the wherewithal because I had studied Islamic law at university here. And I knew from the baseline, like I wasn't a nominal Muslim in the sense that I actually knew that Islam has Sharia, which they genuinely call divine law. And there's no way you can understand what divine law is unless you extract it from the only verbatim book we have from God himself, which is the Quran. And I knew that any sect of Muslim, any school of thought, or they're called the madhabs, but like any, even within Sunnism, like the schools of thought like Hanbali, Shafi, Maliki, you have to, they all agree, even Shias, they all agree that the Quran is the word of God. And they go as far as to say it's unchanged and blah, 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 all nonsense. But at least as a baseline, I could work with, okay, the Quran is the word of God. And these guys, these jurists, have lifted or taken Sharia, the divine law, extrapolated it from this book. So if this law was put on me, what these men are saying is that that law comes from God to some extent himself. Yeah. So that's when I went on my little kind of Sherlock Holmes investigation journey into like, right, let me go back to the book itself, because I'd studied law at university and I thought, let me not be a Muslim who's opening this book and thinking like a ray of light is going to hit me and this is God speaking to me. Let me examine it as a lawyer and see, if I read this, can I put this law on this woman? And I read the verse of women, Surah Nisa in the Quran, and I thought, wow, of course you could do that to me. It's clear as day. Men are a degree above women. Men are the caretakers of women. If you fear disobedience from your wife, you know, and that's what the law that was put on me. Somebody actually commented on my video and I was like, yes, they got it down to a T, because I didn't use this word enough. But the law that was put on me is called Da'a Zawjiyya in Arabic, and that relates to the disobedience of the wife. Now, Islamically, if I go back to what happened to me, it's because that verse in the Quran, which is, if you fear disobedience, relates to the house of obedience. So you as a woman are property. So you're either your father's property, and then you get transferred after the marriage to your husband and you become his property, just like his chattel or a house he owns or anything else. And within that framework, you need to be obedient. That's called the house of obedience, which is why in Islam, men are given the unilateral right to divorce, because divorce, talaq in Arabic, actually means like to repudiate. So because you've been disobedient, they can kind of hang these 3 divorces. So 3 divorces means you're out, like 3 strikes and you're out. So so 1 or 2, they can kind of dangle over you to get you back from disobedience into the house of obedience. And so what I did by fleeing my marital home essentially was to be disobedient, and then this law to kidnap me and bring me back. Yeah, disobedient. And remember, these are just at the whims of what men consider disobedience. You know, me not bringing you on stage could be disobedience.
It's just absolutely shocking to hear that in this century, to hear that sort of thing is happening, and to know that sort of thing is happening in this country as well, and that it's kept under the radar is awful. But sorry, I interrupted your story.
No. Go ahead, please. I go on about this for so long, so I'd like to hear your thoughts if you have any.
Well, it just must have been such a profound moment when it sort of crumbled in front of you, and particularly using your knowledge of law and looking at the direct words of the Quran. There's no getting around what it actually says. At that moment, it must have just felt like the entire world was against you, I would assume.
Yeah, and also felt like you kind of took the red pill in the Matrix or something. Like you're just like, oh my goodness, what? Like everyone is going along with this huge kind of farce, but when you actually look at the concepts in Islam, like everyone's okay that men have this, you know, extremely imbalanced position of power when it comes to divorce, and we just go along with it. But then, Jake, you get even weirder concepts like halala, which I'm not sure if you've heard of, but that boggled me. Oh my gosh. Well, brace yourself, because essentially,
take a big breath.
yeah, you so if you get divorced 3 times by the man because you've been repudiated and you've essentially crossed over into the disobedience sphere, if he decides that no, actually, I want her back, before you can remarry, you as a woman need to go and sleep with another man, in its entire fully, like, you know, the whole deed, the whole shebang, and only then can your husband take you back. And there are services even within this country. There's Facebook groups of people offering payments to do that for couples that want to get married again. And can you imagine the wide scale scope of abuse and these perverted imams or whoever is carrying out these businesses, actually called halala businesses, that are happening here underground and happening all across the Islamic world, because this is just a concept you find in Islam. And for the life of me, even when I was a Muslim, anybody I asked, especially the women, and nobody had an answer for why this was in Islam, and why there was some kind of divinity behind it. Unless you can tell me, Jake,
how can you justify that? I'm quite sure that if there is a creator, then they would make sure that women were protected, not subjugated and abused in such a way as that. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It seems to me that from what I know of it, it just seems to be a very phallocentric religion, where it just seems to be essentially a series of progressions where man is allowed to get whatever he wants, essentially, and women are kept as slaves, effectively.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the fact that we've got Sharia law operating here, where women are losing out on the right to a law that's so much more equal and that could favor them, and they're choosing these archaic draconian laws instead, is absolutely wild. Because you've got prescription there of, I mean, Jake, the whole reason that this is such an issue is because things like I know domestic violence exists in every single culture around the world. It does domestic violence, domestic abuse, as it's now called, because it's not just physical violence. Abuse takes on many forms, but it has no race, color, creed, religion. But the fact that you can find it, the prescription for that, within what Muslims consider the holiest book, the Word of God, is absolutely wild to me. And the fact that even working in this sector, there's a plethora of Muslim-led domestic abuse organizations, and none of them can grapple with the fact that, you're trying to support women, but these men are holding that book while they're doing the deed. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
so the women then are essentially psychologically coerced by the book. They can't do anything about it. It is literally the divine word.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And you just have to accept that.
Exactly, yeah. And, a lot of them will never kind of see their religion as being the problem in the first place. Yeah. So they don't, like, if you and I were to read that verse, we would hear what it's saying. But they can kind of read that verse and gloss over it, or make 1,001 excuses as to what that verse actually says. And just while I'm on that point, I know a lot of people in this chat and across, like, some of my videos have been asking me to, I think, talk to other Muslims, or women content creators who are Muslims on these like wider issues. But for me, a big part of the activism that I do is like based on intellectual honesty. So even like, for example, having a chat with somebody like Lubna, I just don't see the benefit in it for the kind of work that I'm trying to do, because you have to be honest with yourself when it comes to certain Quranic prescriptions. And I think I saw her when she first started, because I was very excited, another British Pakistani woman on the scene. But I think she went on to a really prominent ex-Muslim Indian channel in Hindi. And I think for about 2 hours I was listening to the debate, but she was trying to find justifications for what that verse meant, as opposed to what, I say it means. And I think that's when I lose a lot of kind of common ground with the work that I'm trying to do, versus trying to play happy, happy families and things.
I do know exactly what you mean, and that's, again, it's why I admire the work that you do, and why I'd like to support it in any way that I can. And I don't have I only have my mind, so if I can offer that in any way that would help at all, then I'd be glad to do that. And hopefully, if you get the time sometime, it'd be really, really good to go into a really deep dive about how Islam and sort of infects the mind as a child and how that goes through to adulthood, because I think that's something that a lot of people would be interested in.
Yeah, well, would you like my mind as a case study? Because
Well,
I don't know how I can.
Well, one thing that would be quite interesting that I've noticed is an easier way for me to think about things is there's normal thinking and then there's Muslim thinking, because it is just so completely different. Like the concept of the one that you obviously surely know, the right hand possessing. Normal thinking would be, I will protect these women who I've just captured. Muslim thinking is, I want to take them to bed.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
It's really hard to kind of get your head around that until you learn more about it. So I've been really
therein lies a massive problem with you, just like within the Muslim psyche. I mean, I don't know if you can see how that can very easily lend itself to one of the biggest scandals we've had in this country with the grooming gangs. You know, I know they're called something else. I just don't want to get demonetized. But yeah, that mindset seeps through at every level, from whether it was battle days in a foregone era of Muhammad's time to this very day. You know, like the mentality is the same, and that goes back to the command that Islam has on the mind, as you mentioned earlier, and I'm really grateful that you're looking into that. And yes, if I can be of any assistance in terms of how my mind was absolutely plagued and captivated by Islam.
Yeah, that would be really interesting. I'm not a psychologist or anything like that. Don't worry. Like I say, literature is my background, so don't worry about that. But it's been delightful to speak to you, and hopefully we can speak again in the future and keep doing what you're doing, because I think you're very brave in what you're doing. I fully support it, and I hope that soon you get up to 100,000. So thank you very much, Nuria.
Cheers, Jake. I appreciate that. And thank you for your input tonight. It was very insightful.
Thank you.
Take
Goodbye.
care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okie dokes. That was fascinating, to be honest, as the chat. I think I actually need to reflect more on, how Islam did completely have a hold over my mind as a child. And not just that, like only recently I realized at my local mosque here, like, you know, thinking back as to, sorry, I'm just going to take this off and then I'll go through the super chats quickly before we round off. I don't know how to get this one off. Okay. Anyway, I just kind of a few months ago realized that why I was wearing a hijab at 9 years old in London, just because of the influence of my local mosque after school. And 9 is very young. And I obviously know the implications of it from an Islamic perspective, but like low-key, I was groomed to do that and to think that was the right thing to do, and it worked. And I fully bought into this being, you know, the right thing. In Islam, you have a concept called Sirat al-Mustaqim, which means the right path. And that's all I could think about as 9-year-old Nuria was thinking, wait, I want to go to heaven. Why does nobody else want to go to heaven? And God has spoken to us directly in his book, the Quran. And so I did it and I went along with it, and everyone looked at me like I was the weirdo, but I was looking at them like they were the weirdos, and they were going to go to hellfire and be roasted like, I don't know, like Donomy on a pit for eternity. And I thought that punishment surely is enough to make anybody not want to disobey God's commands. But looking back at it, this is still happening. I know I'm relaying it in a slightly facetious manner, and I do apologize, because this is going on across mosques in the UK currently. Certain mosques are more prominent than others and known to be very, like, I guess, hotbeds of radicalism. If you send your kids there, they will come out with quite extreme views, and they will start dressing with the white tobe and, you know, pulling it up above their ankles and not looking women in the eye. And little things like that. And these are happening around London, and like East London Mosque is famous, Regent's Park Mosque is famous, Harrow Mosque is famous. These are very problematic things. And that's why I do think we need to take a much more stringent approach on what goes on with these mosques and what these kids are being fed across the loudspeaker on Friday after the holiest day of prayer, because even France has cracked down on it, and if France can crack down on it, surely we can. So yeah, it was definitely a case of, though, grooming a little 9-year-old girl to cover up and wear the. And I'm really relaying this lightly to you all, but because I'm actually embarrassed. It hurts me to think the way that I thought when I was 9, because I'm living in London. I should be, extremely pluralistic in my mindset, but I genuinely thought that Jewish people and Christian people were wrong and were not as good as Muslims. Like I was fed this level of like otherness that gave me a bit of a superiority complex, and it really took me to go to the other side of the world and go to the Muslim Holy Land and live amongst people of all races, cultures, creeds, and religion to realize that I'm actually I need to check myself and be humbled, and I don't need to wear this garb over my head, because, if I believe in God, then God should understand what's in my heart, and I don't need to have this outward projection of it. Also, the fact that I played football and was really into sports helped, so I'm ever grateful for that side of me. Okay, let me see what's happening in the comments, because sorry, I've not been able to keep up with the live comments, but I'll just go through some super chats quickly. Where were we? Bear Money, Guinness, okay. Oh, Nail Bunny became a YouTube member. Thank you, Nail Bunny, and welcome to the YouTube family. You are new, but we discuss all things Islam here, Britain, politics, that kind of jazz. So I hope you enjoy the content and enjoy interacting with this amazing community that we've built. We're just here today celebrating 55K and growing, thanks to people like you. So welcome. Richard, oh, thank you again, Richard. Richard the Aman is saying, if not seen, I recommend Nuria's interview with Andrew Gold on his Heretics channel. Yes, I've done a more recent one, and I did one, I think, about a year ago. But yes, I don't know which one you're talking about, Richard, but I hope they're both worth watching. If you haven't, type in Andrew Gold, Nuria Khan, and I'm sure both of them will come up. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. Obviously, Andrew's great. I love the work that he does. And it was always interesting because he always asked people at the end, like, who's a heretic that you admire? And for me, it was always like a toss-up between my two faves, which is Christopher Hitchens and Ricky Gervais at the moment. So I thought, oh, well, one's passed away and one's alive. So I'm glad he brought me on twice so that I could give them both a shout out. Anyway, Mike No-Go Zones. Hello, Mike. How are you? It's been a while. I hope you're doing well. I do see you here and there in the comments, so I'm sure you're doing well. But thank you for being here today. Mike's saying, what's your take on the sectarian violence that takes place within Islam? For example, the persecution of the Ahmadis. Oh, good question. I guess my take in general would be that, just holistically speaking, when Islam isn't fighting infidels and the West and trying to further Sharia law or enact jihad, they are busy fighting themselves. So, you don't even have to worry. If they wipe out infidels one fine day, according to them, the level of infighting will just, in and of itself, destroy Islam, because they only agree when it comes to all the non-Muslims. But as soon as that bit's taken care of, it's, there's very, very little that they agree on. Sunni, Shia, Sufis, and then within that, the sects, like the more extreme sects. Pakistan is a prime example. You've got so many different strands of Islam. Like, I didn't even know what the difference was between, I like to call them different flavors of what they portray, but they're all always putting like blasphemy allegations on the other, and you'd think, like, really, like you are from the same overall group and message, but no, it's insane. And with the Ahmadis, I think they are at a very big disadvantage, because they are actually probably, speaking completely on a Islamic perspective, bottom of the barrel in terms of who are considered the most right or righteous in terms of Islam, is they're actually considered non-Muslim. So in Pakistan, their passports are made to say non-Muslim. I guess it's just an extra humiliation factor, nor can they hold any positions of office. And they're persecuted at every opportunity. So, I mean, I think even in the Islamic scripture, the hadiths allude to this, the fact that, oh, it's actually quite funny. Let me try and remember it so I can convey it properly. But I think somewhere in the Sunni hadith literature, it says that Judaism is going to break off into 71 sects, and Christianity is going to break off into 72 sects, and Islam is going to break off into 73 sects, only one of which will go to heaven. So that will give you just an overall insight into, you know, how the percentage of Muslims that think that they're actually following the Prophet's example and the one that's required to get to heaven. It's also really funny because you can see Muhammad, or whoever you believe created Islam, just really like using Judaism to be 71, Christianity to be 72, and then Islam will be 73. It's just always same but different kind of vibe. And, you know, Islam and the number 3 and 7 go a long way. So that made me laugh. I read the hadith quite recently, actually. Okay, sorry, I don't know what's going in the chat. I hope you're all having a nice time. I hope people are keeping it chill. If there's no more questions, or nobody wants to come and have a chat, I'm just going to quickly browse up for as quick as I can to see if I missed anything extra juicy. Otherwise, I will look to wrap it up in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But thank you for being here, and thank you for having spent a little bit of your Saturday evening with me and celebrating. It means a lot. Okay. Sorry, this is very hard to multitask. Okay, I think you guys are all having a lit conversation. It seems like the chat is lit. It's a cult, OCD. Okay, just comments about Islam. British values. Yes. You could watch me talking for days. Oh, thank you, Ross. I will keep up the good work. I'm trying to dedicate more and more time to put out as many more videos as I can, I think we're reaching a very important time in this country where, I mean, it seems more divided than ever, and it also seems like people are more frustrated than ever. And I think all of us who have a voice and who care about this country, we need to have our voices heard, and we need to make sure they're not getting drowned out, because I just feel where I work, the people I see around me, it's almost like this insane capture, an ideological capture with this really extreme leftist mindset that every single person I meet is just their natural disposition. You know, like Islam says, every human being's natural disposition is to be a Muslim. I genuinely think most people in Britain, it's natural disposition, bar the countrysides, is to, especially London, I'm definitely using London as an example, is complete ideological capture by this extreme left mentality. And if you even have a slightly, differing opinion, they're like, oh my gosh, you're far right, that they actually look at you like you're crazy and there's genuinely something wrong with you. And I think we need to start reversing this mindset and saying, whoa, just because I'm saying like, England's like reached capacity, we need to have some kind of control on the borders or something, because society is not safe and secure anymore. The amount of HMOs is just doubling, tripling around you. Your areas are not recognizable to even what they were 10, 20 years ago. That does not make somebody automatically deemed to be racist or crazy. Whereas everyone I meet, everywhere I work, every conference I attend, by virtue of that, is this mindset, and I seem like I'm the crazy one. And then I come on social media, and then I browse my YouTube, and then I go on X, and I realize, okay, it's not all that bad. There's plenty of us out there. It's just our voice is not as strong as this capitulated mindset, which is this lefty mindset. And that's why I'm very grateful for the likes of Advanced UK coming out, and you know, people joining left, right, and center, and then shouting about it and saying, you know, let's spread the word and whatever's happening at various levels. Because some people think it's a foregone conclusion that Britain is now Britanistan, or is this some kind of Islamic emirate, or these enclaves are just going to be like this now, or just get worse, and we just have to deal with it. Even Nigel Farage saying, got to accept the demographic change. And I just don't think that's fair to just put that on the people and be like, that's it. It's a foregone conclusion. Sadiq Khan will always win London. It's just because of the demographics, the population. He's got his voter base here. I feel like that's not something we need to accept here in this kind of democracy. And I feel like, I don't know, I just think it's now or never. The tide needs to start turning now. So I'm going to try and get more and more vocal. I'm going to try and get more involved, I think, take a bit more interest in politics as well. Time permitted, of course. But thank you. I guess, thank you, Ice Kitty. Thank you. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody who is supporting me and just giving me the, what's the word? Just like the momentum to keep carrying on. Because some days, come back from work, you're tired, you've had a long day, and the last thing you want to do is come onto YouTube and talk about some more negativity. But you know what? It's important. And the more people it reaches and the more people that hear this message, the bigger chance we have of enacting some real change. So yeah, I won't bore you all now, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. Schweb, I can see you're in the chat. I didn't know if you wanted to come on and say something, but thank you for being here as well. And thank you to all my American supporters. Carrie, I really appreciate that, from across the pond. I'm glad I'm helping you learn over there. Please look at us as an example and do everything that we are not doing, because, yeah, in this ideological battle, you have a much, much better chance to not getting to this, I guess, just the point that we've got to now, where things are going to take years to get back to what we'd like. And I think, obviously, you guys have a couple of people who have got much louder voices and are already pushing back against this. And hopefully, you don't suffer from the same level of ideological capture. So please do help yourselves out there. And I would say the same thing to the Canadians, the Australians, the rest of the Anglosphere. Please look at us and learn by example. Okay, I guess so. Shoaib has come backstage. I know, Jake, exactly. It will take 100 years to replace the institutional capture. You know what? I think 50 at the very least. When I listen to some of these experts talk, it seems like, legally speaking, to undo the effects of the legislation that we've been held hostage, I'm going to use that word, not lightly, but we've been held hostage to, it will take a minimum of 50 years to undo that damage. But every journey begins with the first step. So, here we are. At least 2 generations, exactly. Oh, thank you all the way from Pakistan. If you are watching, I really appreciate that. And yeah, actually, I'm not sure if you guys can see, I've been pumping out a lot of shorts recently. I work full time, so that's not me. That is down to my amazing editor, who is a big fan from Pakistan. So thank you so much, and a big shout out to him. This channel would not be where it is without you. So thank you for your continued efforts. Okay, without further ado, I'll bring Shoaib on stage, and then we will wrap this up. Hi, Shoaib.
Hello, hi, Nuria. Hope you're okay. I was literally out of seeing you live, and I was coming back home, and I just thought I'll come here. I'll say hello to you, and I just let you know that I do support you. I am a Muslim, but I support you very much, and I hope you know that. That's all.
Thank you. You're the best kind of Muslim, one of the best kinds of Muslims. So I appreciate that massively. And it's good because it's good to know that it's good that we can support each other, because people know that there's not necessarily this complete divide between Muslims and ex-Muslims. It doesn't work that way. We can coexist the way that you and I do. So.
Yeah. And I think there was another thing that you were talking about Saudi Arabia, and I thought I wanted to touch about that as well, because I had a lot of Shia friends in Saudi Arabia, and you're absolutely right when you said they had to hide their identity. They couldn't tell people that they were Shias. And I'll tell you a story very briefly. One of my friend I went to school with in Saudi Arabia, his younger brother actually got assaulted by a taxi driver. And so that guy came to me because we knew some of the people within the police. And he said to me, "Oh, can you help me?" And I was with this guy for at least 5 years in my school. And I never knew that guy was Shia because, see, I never cared about these things, neither my parents. And this guy used to come to my house. We used to do things together and everything. So he said to me, "Will you be able to help me? My brother has been assaulted by a Pakistani driver, which is a taxi driver." So I said, "Yeah, go to the police. They will help you." But unfortunately, he then told me that, "You know what, I'm actually Shia." And I said, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the police. They should help you, and they must help you, because what has happened to your brother, it's wrong. You know, this shouldn't have happened to anybody. I don't care if you're black, white, you're Shia, you're Muslim, you're atheist, whatever you are. I don't care." But he said, "No, it doesn't work that way." So I went to a police officer that I knew from maybe like 15 years. I knew that guy, grew up with that guy. He's an Arab guy. I given him the details that he needed. You won't believe it, but the police officer came back to me and he said to me, "Yeah, man, we can't help him because he's a Shia." And I was like, "What do you mean? You know, his young brother, has been sexually harassed by a taxi guy, by another man, a Pakistani man. Will you not help them?" And they didn't help him. And I think that was the wake up call for me, because there were so many things. Because I was so busy within my own life in Saudi Arabia. You know, we used to go to, I know people won't believe it, but we used to have parties as well in Saudi Arabia. You know, we used to go to these parties and we used to do this. So, you know, I think I never went deep down in that, because with my parents as well, they were not strict in that sense where they will tell us, "Oh, you know, you need to do this, you can't do this." We were allowed to do whatever we were doing. So, you know, I never knew that. But unfortunately, when that happened, I had to say this, because you were absolutely right. If they were Shias, even though they are Muslims, you know, it's a different sect, but they're still part of the religion. But yeah, unfortunately, this is what it is. And in Pakistan, we see it all the time. They're killing each other. You know, for the smallest inconvenience that they have, they kill each other. And yeah, it's what I'm seeing in the UK now. It's not very good. I'm not going to lie. I, as much as I love the UK, you know, I've done everything in my power to be as good of a human being while living in the UK or anywhere else. But I feel like it is the Muslim community that comes after you. I'm not worried about the ethno-nationalists who probably won't be deported. I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about the Muslims who are working in the Home Office, who watch the things that I do, the things that I say. And obviously, a lot of Muslims have said to me, because I call you my friend, Nuria, and I call some of the other people, you know, I've seen Harris Sultan as well. I say these people are genuine people. They got concerns and they're raising their concerns. Because I say that, they have labeled me some sort of traitor to the Muslim community. And that has put a target on my back as well. But unfortunately, police doesn't help me, you know, and I don't know what's going on with the UK. It's not looking very good. So yeah, it is very hard. But my heart breaks when I see what's going on in the UK, in all honesty.
Oh no, touche. Exactly, Shoaib. And same here. It really does. And like I was saying earlier in my stream, this used to be a safe haven for dissidents, or, you know, people to express their views and feel safe in this place. And you are also a prime example of how far gone this country is at the minute, and, you know, the kind of state level persecution that you get, and the sacrifices you have to make, and the almost cancellation of everything just for speaking your mind, or, you know, allowing other people to speak their mind, and just by association, you are guilty by association, essentially. But I guess, I mean, that's why I think, you know, I'm very proud of the way you've just kind of kept going, you rise above it, you're fighting to your last breath. And I think we can all just stand by your side and do the same thing. We vote now with integrity. We look for people who can lead this country with integrity. And hopefully this is what I was mentioning about the how far the ideological capture is, and what happens when Muslims in large numbers get so tribalistic that, you know, if you don't toe their line, you're considered a traitor. And, you know, I've been called a lot worse, but here we are, two misfits from from our cultures. So
yeah, no, I think the worst thing is, being in the UK, I've always felt safe, or I thought I would be safe, only because people like you, Nuria, you know, when you were here, and I've seen a lot of your work even before when I got into these things, because, you know, your videos would circulate within the Muslim community saying, oh, look at this woman, she's always chatting nonsense, she got a lot of rubbish to say. So, you know, I used to see it, but I never had an opinion. I used to think, you know what, she's saying something, it is her right, because she lives in the UK, who cares you agree with it or not, because that's how I was raised. But unfortunately, when I've doing what I have been doing, and, you know, speaking to you, did a live with you in Ramadan when I was fasting as well, you know, I was called a lot of names by the Muslim community, and then they tried to intimidate me by telling me, you need to change your ways, you need to come back to the religion. I said, you know what, I think I'm happy with the way I am. If you don't like it, I can't do anything about it. You just keep hating me. But what they have done now, they have weaponized the British police. You know, they sent the police after me. And I was shocked to see that the police actually arrested me for the fact that I have criticized my own community. And I said things a part of the religion and Islam and everything, and talk about the extremists, the Islamists. And when the police came after me, I was like, there is no way you can help yourself, because there is no one to help you anymore. There was a time when, yes, you could have said what you want to say, and the police will be on your side, because they will say at the end of the day, he got his freedom of rights. But unfortunately, there is no free speech in the UK. I'm sure you know that very well. But yeah, it is crazy time. See what happens. Like I said, I'm still waiting for the Home Office to get back to me, and I'm sure you have, because this thing is very close to me. That guy Wayne, who was stabbed by an Afghan migrant who came in 2020, and that is the funny thing, because I went to Brunel University, so that area is very close to my heart. I spent 3 and 4 years of my life in that area. So when I read the news, I started looking into who this Afghan migrant was. So this Afghani migrant, he came to the UK illegally on the back of a lorry in 2020. And then within 2 years, they're giving him ILR, indefinite leave to remain in the UK. So he's probably as British as you are, Nuria. And you know what? You are from here, and he's not from here. And to put him in a place, even though he's a criminal because he came in the UK illegally, and then they've got someone like me who've been in the country for 10 years. And on Friday, I got an email from the Home Office again asking me that they would need more time. They've already taken twice the time that they needed. And now they've put me in a position where I just can't work. I can't do anything because I am pending a decision. So, you know, it's just crazy. What can you say other than we can hope for the best? You know, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. No, hope and having some kind of vision attached to it, I think is the need of the hour and what's going to keep us going. But yeah, it's absolutely abysmal what's happened with you. And obviously I'm following your case because we talk behind the scenes as well. But I'm sure if anybody goes onto X, they can see the way that how compromised the UK police is. Like, this is our counterterrorism police meant to safeguard us from terrorism, where, bear in mind, 1 in 100 terrorists are Islamic. I think it's
Muslim.
yeah, exactly. And I think it's about 70% of the terror watch list, and they always go on about the far right. But anyone wants an example of how far gone they are, just watch when they appeared at Shoaib's house and they kept asking him not to cross the line. And what does that mean for somebody like me to hear? Is just, don't upset the Muslims, is essentially what they were saying to him over and over again, like ad nauseum, as if they were like these trained puppets with no clear thinking of their own. And it's just like, wow, this is the day where I would see British or specifically Welsh police talk like that. It was honestly, I thought I was in a waking nightmare. But that's been your lived reality. And I, again, sure, all we can do is keep hammering this point home and hope for some change. No, you're very brave. You're always brave as ex-Muslims, honestly.
I think I get some of the bravery from looking at people like you, like Lubna and Haris and some of the other people. And I think we need to keep doing what we're doing. Obviously, we don't need to agree with everything we say. And I'm sure we don't agree with everything anyways. But, you know, at the end of the day, we are human beings. You know, we just need to be respectful to each other, which I try my best to do. And like I said, I do call you my friend. And like I said, I'm sure you know behind the scenes, I've always said if there's ever anything that I can do to help you in any ways, I'm always here. So thank you very much for having me on, Nuria.
Oh, likewise. Cheers, Shoaib. Take care of
Take
yourself.
care. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye. Bye-bye.
No worries. Bye.
Bye. Okay, always nice to hear from Shoaib as well. Okay, so we've got Will Martin here actually. Will says, "Hi Nuria, I was organizing the recent event in Manchester where you were due to speak when we were cancelled." Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow. Will, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. I guess this lends in beautifully with what I was saying about just the level of ideological capture in this country is so insane that we were meant to speak. It was myself, Raja Mia, Nick Buckley, Peter Whittle at a New Culture Forum's regional event in Manchester. And we were all ready to go. And I think when the event, like the people who I guess it was a restaurant or a pub of some kind, when they saw the list of names that was speaking, the event got cancelled. And you can only assume why that was the case. There is a talk, I think, where Nick Buckley on his channel is going into the reasons of why we would have been cancelled, but it just gives you an insight into you can't even book certain venues in certain parts of the UK now where people think that they just don't want to have your voices heard because of what you are affiliated with or what you speak about. And in Raja Mia's case especially, he is just shedding light on how much of a scandal and the sheer level of cover-ups by officials at high levels took place within the grooming gangs. I mean, who wouldn't want that to come to light? Yet here we are in this muggy situation in the UK. So yeah, thank you, Will. And I'm really sorry that that must have put you in a weird situation as well, having had that event cancelled just on a whim. And I hope that we can redo that event in some other kind of format, maybe in a different part of the UK that's not as captured, but there's few and far between at the moment. But I do believe we will be meeting in London in a few months' time to kind of revive that. So I look forward to meeting you in person. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up now. I think we've been going for an hour and a half. I think, we've got somebody backstage. Could you just let me know in the private chat what you'd like to talk about and who you are? Sorry, I just have to do a bit of housekeeping because you never know with these open live streams. Yes, the cover-up of the grooming gangs is truly abhorrent. And as I mentioned, just before I came on the stream today, I was listening to a lady called Fiona, who was a victim survivor of them. And just when you think like you know how bad it got, listening verbatim to a survivor retell her story, it's like if you thought you were sick to your stomach before, it gets worse. It gets a whole lot worse. Thank you, Amia. Thank you very much, Nuria. Very nice having the first stream. You have a wonderful heart. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Okay. Hafiz, you'd like to talk about two-tier policing? Okay, let's have you talk about two-tier policing. Hisham, you're backstage. Could you just let me know your background and what you'd like to talk about? And then you'll be the last caller and I'll wrap it up. Hafiz, I will bring you to the stage in 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, Miss Noor. How are you? Nuria.
Evening, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. I've already spoken to you a couple of times when you and Sultan Harris Sultan, were doing the sort of Sunday shows. You guys were doing that fairly regularly.
Oh, okay. Did you have this set up? Because I don't remember you.
No. I was mostly on a Sunday driving somewhere, so I was always in my car. So yeah, no, it wasn't the boudoir.
I like it.
It's just the background is so boring, so I just threw that in just to make it a little bit better. Well, I'm one of these guys who actually like street, I guess you could say street auditor stroke news independent journalist kind of guys, you know,
Oh.
the ones who go to all the different protests and different hotels and stuff and sort of cover that. And that's why, you know, me and so many others have seen two-tier policing like so obvious in our face. It's just, I think that when they try to gaslight us into, oh no, there's no two-tier policing, it's like, it's there. It's over and over again. You can't just sort of say it's a coincidence or it's a bad police officer this time or that time, when it's dozens and dozens of times you see it happen. And I think the one that was the most egregious and the most obvious was this last Saturday's event, although it was held by UKIP. I don't know if you know that one. Nigel Farage even talked about it, and the fact that they would not allow them to go into Whitechapel. And I was like, of course. I mean, when they told me, they announced it that they were going to march in Whitechapel, I'm like, that'll be a miracle if that goes through. If it goes through, it will probably be a slaughter. But if it doesn't, it'll be a miracle if it goes through in the first place. Because Whitechapel, you might as well want to march through Islamabad. You might as well say, oh, there's a march in Tehran.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Are you crazy?
Exactly. Very bold move.
Have you seen this? The demographics of these places? And the other one that is coming up, which I've been hearing through the grapevine, that there'll be some people who go there, which is the one with the Israeli team in Birmingham that are going to play football, because they've banned all the Jewish fans from going. So no Jewish fans can go to Birmingham to watch their football team play Aston Villa. But I've heard through the grapevine some people are going to go anyway. And that's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go with them, but that's going to be very interesting. I don't want to give away too many sort of things, but yeah, that's what I've heard. The other part of this, which is becoming very egregious and very obvious, is the anti-Semitism in this country. I know so many Jewish people who are now moving to Israel. So many of them have already gone. So many are already making plans to move because they would rather sit under the potential rockets of Hamas in Israel than what they face in this country. That is unbelievable to me. Jewish people who've been here generations, they fought in the wars of this nation, are now fleeing because they don't feel safe anymore. It's just not a country that they can, feel safe raising their kids anymore. So if they're going, the millionaires are going, I'll be honest, there's only one demographic that's coming in. I don't see anyone else leave. Yeah. It's a bit depressing. It's very depressing. I've got friends of mine in Kuwait that are telling me, dude, England is becoming Islamic. I'm like, you're in Kuwait. It's like, yeah, it's far better here. It's actually, the crazies are not actually here. The crazies are moving out of here and are going into Europe because Dubai, Arab Emirate, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, these places are actually exiting their fanatics. They are actually like either pushing them out or they know they're going to face tremendous punishment under their Sharia. So the actual fanatics, and this is what I think the foreign minister of Dubai said some time back, that in the future, the fanatical Islamists are going to come out of Europe. They're not going to come out of the Middle East because they are being fermented here. There are literal IRGC, Iranian military corps. They're living in council houses in Fulham or in Hammersmith, those places. I'm like, are you joking me? And I think it was what was his name? The chap who wrote The Strange Death of Europe. Oh my God,
Douglas Murray.
Yes, Douglas Murray. He said he found Hamas members and Hezbollah Tahrir living in council houses in what was it, Harlow and Harrow and places like that. They're all here. They're all. I think, to be honest with you, to the credit of the Middle East, they've realized we can actually send our crazies somewhere else. We don't have to deal with them.
And the way they did it was sorry to cut you off, Hafiz, but the way they did it was to be heavy-handed with them. Like, they were actually forceful. Obviously, they are not democratic nations, so they are within their rights according to their own policies to do that. But that's how they thought they needed to be dealt with. Whereas look what we're doing. Like you said, we're giving them housing. We're saying, yeah, bring your families over. We're saying, yes, set up charities and have your funding go through those charities and be plastered all over TFL posters where, you know, Islamic Relief and things like this. The Muslim Brotherhood has got its tentacles into every aspect of English society, I would say.
On all levels, from
Yeah.
your, you know, Houses of Commons all the way down to your councils and your mayors. And I mean, again, you know, sometimes you kind of got to be impressed with your enemy. They did it systematically, and they did it through all the right channels. They went for those council seats, they went for those mayoral elections, they went for these positions, and then they spread out their tentacles to politics. And now people like Jess Phillips, I feel Jess Phillips is a captured politician.
Oh,
she
yes.
can't say anything because her constituents will destroy her. And I don't think most people predict she's not going to get elected again anyway. And she's going to be out the next time because there's going to be a Muslim independent that's probably going to take her place. And a lot of the Labour council seats, politicians are feeling the same. They know that their time is, you know, their time in the House of Commons is running out. And they're going to eventually be replaced either by some green politician who's going to wave a Palestinian flag, which is again another insane sort of scenario where you think, I mean, imagine if a Jewish politician gets elected for Golders Green in London and then waves an Israeli flag. They would destroy him in the media. They would tear him apart if he's waving a foreign flag when he's just been elected as an official in Britain for the British. But yet these guys, they do it with impunity. They wave a foreign flag and have no problems with it. And in fact, if you criticize it, you're the one in the wrong. You're the Islamophobe. Madness. Absolute madness.
Absolute madness. I know. And it goes full circle to what you were saying about the two-tier policing. Like, you criticize that and the police will come down heavy-handed on you. Like, you know, just the previous a guest we had on, Shoaib, like, he has been told not to cross the line multiple times for exercising his own free speech, but to defend who? Which one aspect of society that they bend over backwards to protect, to the point where we are sitting here in 2025 in Britain discussing whether an Islamophobia bill should be passed. Like, please tell me, what kind of fresh hell is this? And you're so right when you say, like, it's, you know, it's, I mean, I call it the new jihad. I call it the modern jihad in my videos, because these organizations, everything from the Muslim Council of Britain to MEND, when they lay out their aims and objectives clearly, it's like this is a very concerted effort to infiltrate all levels of society and governance and politics, all through white collar institutions, and use this like leftist capture, to say, we're just going to give you an awareness training. We're just going to give you like an Islamophobia awareness, just so, you know, with everything happening in the world, let's just make sure you're not Islamophobic towards what's happening in Palestine. But really, you're brainwashing the masses into thinking, how dare you criticize this when we speak from this side of the thing? And it's just, you're so right. If I was a Jewish person living in Britain today, I would be hella scared to go about my business being an like outwardly visible Jew.
Literally, they did it on screen. It was on, you know, you saw that viral moment where the police officer was telling the Jewish guy, you are visibly a Jewish man, and we can't let you cross this road because you have too many Jewness about. I mean, come on. This is, by the way, a lot of people always say the Jews are like the tip of the spear. When you see, if they're talking about the Jews, then you know the rest is about to come. The famous saying is, first they come for the Saturday people, then they come for the Sunday people. I mean, the Jews are always the indicator of where your country's at and where your country's going when it comes to bigotry and hatred. And I've always said it. I've always said, people, like, I'm talking 20 years ago, I was talking about this, 2001, 2002, especially after 9/11, online. And this was way before any of this stuff was around. And I said, you guys think anti-Semitism came out of like Western Germany in the 1940s? You have no idea the level of anti-Semitism that exists in the Middle East. The level of anti-Semitism in the Middle East, it doesn't even make the little mustache man, you know, he looks like a child in comparison.
Put him to shame. Yeah.
And the thing is, we live because you lived in Saudi Arabia. I think you're Pakistani heritage, right? That's your background. I'm Iranian, so my background is from that side. We live in this world. We swim in this soup. We listen to their conversations when they think they're safe and they're not around white people.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't know this, but we listen. We know what they're saying. So we know what is going on in those inner circles, in those quiet corners where the British and the English and the Germans and the Dutch are not listening because they're not there. They're not in those circles. And when we come out and say, guys, this is what exists, they just turn around and go, oh, you're just an ex-Muslim. You hate Islam. You're just an Islamophobe. And, it's because of your hatred of Islam you can't see the truth. I'm like, I'm trying to give you a heads up. I'm trying to give you like what's around the corner.
Yeah.
What are you walking into? The Europeans, as I said, the Europeans are committing suicide. This is cultural, ethnic, and national suicide. And they're doing it willfully, gleefully, with open arms. I'm like, you people are nuts. I go back to the original. So many people are looking to leave these countries. My mom the other day was saying, maybe Iran will be free and then we can run away from Islam and go back to Iran. We ran away from Islam to come to Britain, and now it's followed us here. Now we have to run back to Iran just to get away from Islam.
Oh my goodness.
It's insane.
It's all upside down, honestly.
I know.
And it's actually funny, you say that, because even thinking about my life, like if I was a hijabi 9-year-old in some corner of London and I ran to Saudi Arabia to get away from that level of, extreme Islam being rammed down my throat, and went there and became much more liberal, what does that say about the level of Islam and extremism being bred across the UK, where you've got, like you said, the Emiratis have done it, Saudi Arabia is doing it, all these people are driving out their fanatics, they're calling them what they are, terrorist organizations, you name the Muslim Brotherhood that, you take away all of its power, but yet here you're allowing them to come set up their other operations. There's a great interview actually on trigonometry. I forgot the man's name. Oh, he's great. He's an Egyptian. And he actually goes into the history and he does a deep dive.
Abraham. It's
Khalid.
Abraham.
I think his name is Khalid something. Khalid Hassan, maybe?
Oh, maybe, yes. Because there is another chap as well who's a Coptic Egyptian who talks about the history of Islam really well. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, and he really breaks down, he says, like you did, you have to give it to them. Hats off the way the Muslim Brotherhood have put this whole scheme into play and they've able to get this far. Only goes to show that, coupled with, as you said, this Western suicidal, empathetic mission that they're on. It's insane, let's just allow this project to continue to our own detriment and to our own demise, where you're being warned straight from the horse's mouth, like with that UAE foreign minister, for example. As you said, he knows what they're saying. He speaks the language. You know what's being said in Iranian circles. I know what's being said in Pakistani circles. And you're out here trying to warn them, but it's just falling on deaf ears. And then you're having policies which are meant to appease them. Now you're having special protections being asked for, and that's how they move. They keep pushing the goalpost ever so slightly until it becomes so far-fetched for us to even think that we should have the right to criticize them openly or have this level of free speech. But also what you were mentioning about Islam and the anti-Semitism is I wish people understood the history and the movement of Jewish people and how they were literally genocided from all the lands that they once inhabited, throughout what we call now the Arab world. But the Middle East in general, the Jewish populations, if you go back in history to what they are now, pretty much non-existent, which is why I think Israel needs to do everything in its power to, defend itself. But that enough should speak volumes about how Islam treats Jewish people and what they think of Jewish people, and why you're seeing this rise of neo-Nazism come to light, across UK university campuses. The absolute hatred, the disdain I've seen, Hafiz, it's actually really like shocked me. Like post October 7th, I was shocked. Like even as a Muslim, I never harbored that much hatred for Jewish people. I just didn't have it in me. But like seeing it out in, on social media, seeing it come to light, like that was something else.
Yeah. I mean, when they started chanting Khaybar, Khaybar, Ya Yahud, shivers, literally the hairs at the back of my neck started to, because I've heard those chants, but I didn't hear them in this country. I heard them in Iran. I've heard them in other places. And although Iranians, we speak Farsi, they still chant these Arabic chants against the Yahud. And even in Iran, which has I would say at least 1,000-year history, maybe more, of Jews living in Iran. I mean, there are Iranian Jews that have been there since the time of Cyrus. It was written about them in the Bible, how Cyrus gave them a sanctuary. So Jews are integral in Iranian society as far as Iranian people. But the Islamics, they despise them. They absolutely despise them, and they oppress them in the way they do the Baha'is and the Zoroastrians and all the other religions in Iran. But overall, you can't be from the Middle East and not hear the word Yahud and followed by the most grotesque insults that follow. You haven't lived in the Middle East if you haven't experienced that, because it is synonymous with disdain and the way they despise the Yahud, the name, the word Yahud. Yeah, it was shocking. It wasn't surprising for me that the Muslims were screaming, Khaybar, Khaybar, Ya Yahud. It was just that, how is this allowed in the streets of Britain, and how unbelievably naive and uninformed the police and the state are about these things. I mean, the thing was, they started with all of those after October 7th. Then I saw slowly reduction of those terms, because the police were being informed, like, this is a death chant that they're chanting towards the Jews. The police had no idea. And then, ridiculous things like jihad doesn't always mean, slaughtering everyone. It's an inner struggle, just like Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf was an inner struggle too.
Yeah.
So when the police, but what I mean is, after all of these years, you're telling me it took to 2023 for the British Metropolitan Police to figure out these things? They had no one informing them about the Islamists in this country. After all of those attacks on the bridges, after all of those, that poor drummer Rigby guy getting attacked in Woolwich. All of these things have happened. The Ariana Grande attack.
Yeah.
The British Police Department still doesn't know what jihad actually means, what Khaybar, Khaybar, Ya Yahud actually means. There's no one out there. Like, it would take me 5 minutes to sit down and talk to them about all this.
It's because they've had the Islamophobia awareness training, Hafiz, and that's, they've been told these. Don't think it means what the Islamophobes tell you it means. This is just a struggle. It's resistance. That's all it is.
Yes, yeah, Miss Nuria, I don't want to keep you. I'm gonna drop off in a second, but I just want to leave you with this. Oh my God, Frank Herbert, who wrote the book The Children of Dune. I don't know if you've seen the movies Dune, The Desert Planet, Spice.
Yes.
All that. Yeah, he said, and this is a quote that I say as often as I can: "When I am weaker than you, I ask for freedoms because that is according to your principle. When I am stronger than you, I take away your freedoms because that is according to my principles." That is Islam in a nutshell right now in Europe. That is what they are doing. That is how they're operating. That is how they're moving. Trust me when I say to the non-Muslims out there, they will say anything. Taqiyya is a wonderful concept for them. Trust me, they love it. And they use it very often because it is a holy was a God-given permission to boldly lie to your face. To your face. They will look at you. I've had Muslims look me in the eye and tell me snow is black. And they won't even flinch. They'll do it with such confidence. And I mean, I exaggerate with that, but I've literally had Muslim muftis and dawah guys from Speaker's Corner, because I go there quite often as well and record stuff there. They have literally supported terrorists They've had terrorists, people who were put in prison for terrorism. There's a famous guy called Adnan Rashid. He literally looked me in the eye and said, I wasn't there. He was sitting next to the guy and he said, I wasn't there because he was on camera, but someone in the audience called his name and he still refuses that he was there. He spoke, people can hear him. He looked me in straight down the camera and said, it wasn't me. Just like Shaggy. It wasn't me.
Yeah, just like Shaggy. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, they'll lie to you bold, no matter how much they profess they are godly men, they're men of cloth, and they worship the all true mighty God. They will lie to you without flinching. They will lie to you without hesitation. So most of the time, you really got to be very careful about what you hear from these Dawa guys, because we call them Dawagandists, because they are, that's what they do. They're promoting tremendous levels of, like, so many levels of falsehood. And unfortunately, it seems the various different European governments are buying this wholesale. The British government is I think, just, bought and paid for at this point. I honestly don't even think people like Nigel Farage and other groups like that are really geared to face this. I think one of the first things Nigel Farage was coached on when they realized he may have actual chance of becoming, a prime minister, was the fact that you can't really mess with this Islam thing. This is not, if you notice the shift in Farage's attitude and mannerisms and speech towards Islam, it shifted massively from the time when they had no MPs, or from the Brexit period when they announced the Brexit party, to now, and the way he's approaching things. Because there is, these are powerful people, the Qataris, the Saudis, the Emiratis. As much as they might tell us they're our friends, they're not our friends. They really are not. And they are promoting and funding Islamists in this country across the board. I can tell you there are shops and restaurants funded by the Iranian regime. I'll give you a very quick story before I go. I was in the Iranian embassy because when I came over to this country, we lost my birth certificate. So I was trying to apply for a new birth certificate, and me and my mum were there because my Farsi is kind of broken, and I needed someone who can speak good Farsi and written as well. So we were sitting and we were talking about things, and I said, this restaurant, I'm not going to mention any names, but this particular restaurant, this particular mosque, this particular place, these are funded by the Iranian government, right? She's like, no, they're not. As she was objecting to what I was saying, the owner of the restaurant walked in with bags of food for the lunch for the Iranian embassy workers.
Wow.
And I'm like, why do you think this restaurant is so cheap? They are subsidized, because this restaurant is one of the is I think hands down the cheapest Iranian restaurant in the whole of London, and they've kept those prices for almost 10 years. I'm like, everyone else has to put up their prices because they have to make money, they have to make profit. These guys, they don't need to make profit. They are being subsidized by the Iranian government. That's why at Ramadan and at Ashura, they give out free food all the time. They're giving out quality, restaurant quality food for free because they are funded by the government. The major thing that I have at the moment is, why isn't the British government, apart from the Muslim Brotherhood, assigning the IRGC as a terrorist organization? They are hands down, they should be a terrorist organization. They literally fund attacks in Britain, attacks across the world. They fund Hezbollah, they fund Hamas. They should absolutely be a prescribed group, but they're not. And a Jewish lady once said to me, she worked in very high levels in government at one time. She said, I questioned about these things, and I suspect, and from the answers I got, is that they have assets within the IRGC, and they can't prescribe the organization. Otherwise, those assets will be somehow exposed or somehow compromised. And so MI5 or MI6 has actual assets embedded in these organizations. So some of the organizations that they don't immediately prescribe is because they've got dealings and things going on. There are all this James Bond spy stuff. There's things that are happening that we're not even aware of. And so I think once you're in that position, you have to then start to recognize there are things that we don't understand, we're not informed about. And the reason your government isn't prescribing a certain group is probably because they have something going on with them. So yeah, it's a very, very weird and unusual situation. But that doesn't help the average working class man on the streets who's trying to make it through the week, and also has to worry about whether some crazed migrant jumps out of a hotel and does God knows what to their daughters and their wives, because that's the reality on the ground now. That's the England that we live in.
Or stabs you to death while you're out walking your dog.
There you go. So that's the reality of what we're dealing with in England, in Britain now, and this is gonna boil up. There's a lot of angry people. When I go to these protests, because I went to the UKIP protests, I've been to Tommy protests, I've been to a lot of different protests, and the Palestinian protests, because I'm a nobody. No one knows me, so I kind of fly under the radar with a lot of that. So I can actually walk amongst the Palestinian protesters, and most of them, they don't care. I even interviewed Jeremy Corbyn once. So they don't really know me, so I can get away with it. But overall, people are angry. People are really angry, and this is gonna get dangerous. It's gonna get dangerous. I hope it never does, but I don't know. I feel really sad because I love the England of the 80s and 90s, Britain because I grew up in that era, and for me, it was wonderful. I mean, look, racism exists everywhere. Racism was always it's part of our nature. We're tribal creatures, but I never felt direct racism. No one ever pointed in my face and said, yeah. So I can't speak to that. Maybe it's because I'm white passing. I don't know. People think I'm Italian and Greek half the time. But I never felt direct racism. But yes, I'm not going to, I'm not going to belittle someone else's experience who's had direct racism. I'm not saying that there was no racism in the 90s and the 80s. But the society was so much safer, so much. I played outside all the time when I was a child. Some days my mom had no idea where I was. There were no mobile phones in the 80s and 90s. Well, at least not accessible to everyone. I went out for 6 hours. My mom had no idea where I was. Like a 12-year-old kid, just out. So nowadays, parents won't even allow them to go, 10 feet outside the front door. The world has changed. It's not safe, and ultimately, this government and the people are going to hold this government to account at some point down the line. I don't know, and I just hope that democracy and the democratic sort of system wins. But if it doesn't, if the next election they don't get proper change, they're not going to worry about democracy anymore. They're going to go the other way. Anyway, thank you so much. You've been awesome as always.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of that. And, I don't like to say it, but unfortunately, I agree with so much of what you said. I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And I think in terms of how our government is compromised is kind of what you said, like, you got to follow the money. You got to follow the money and realize why they're not prescribing certain factions, which are on paper, face value, so obviously negative forces in the United Kingdom, and yet you can tell how much sway they hold over politicians. They've got politicians in their pockets, and that's what we need to undo. And I think that's like you said, if democracy doesn't do that, maybe not the next election, but the one after that, it's going to get really, really crazy out there. And I will say thank you for all the independent work that you're doing. I'm glad you blend in with the Palestinian marches for your own safety. And be safe, please, at the upcoming football game. Yeah, we'd like to hear back from you. So be safe.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, the thing is, someone said to me, we should go with a couple of other lads. I don't know yet because it's gonna get. That is another sort of very dangerous arena to enter.
Exactly.
Birmingham.
No, and I think that's a big, what do you call it, like a flashpoint waiting to happen. So just be very careful if you do cover that.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye bye. Okay. Hey, Hisham, sorry to keep you waiting. I will bring you up any second now. Thank you for your patience. I do really appreciate it. I also saw Michelle. I think you did email me about wanting to have a quick chat. If you're here, Michelle, and you have a few moments, I'd love for you to jump on the stream. If not, I will be closing after we've had a quick chat with Hisham. So Hisham, I will bring you up in 3, 2, 1. Hiya.
Hi, Nuria.
Hi, welcome to the channel. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, it's my first time appearing on a live stream, so forgive me if the audio isn't great and all that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And I like the fact
Okay.
that you're wearing the poppy.
Oh yeah, I'm in Canada right now, so a lot of the stores they're selling, not selling, but they have it on display for people because it's for Remembrance Day.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm gonna get mine on tomorrow, I think. You just reminded me.
Yeah, I want to say congratulations on the 55K following subscribers you've gained, and
Thank
keep
you.
up.
Thank you.
Yeah, and keep up the good work. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Hisham. I really appreciate that. And I will do my best. I will not be silenced.
Yeah, almost every day I hear about the UK. It's you guys have it pretty bad there. So even in Canada, like yeah, like we have problems too, but it's not as bad compared to what you guys are going through in the UK. So yeah, I just wanted to lend a little bit of support there.
Oh, no, thank you. And I mean, yes, I have heard bits and bobs here and there about Canada. And all I can say is what I'm saying to the Americans and the Aussies and you guys, just please learn from what we're doing and fix up before you get to the point that we're at, because this is not fun for, I mean, women aren't safe, men aren't safe, kids aren't safe, no one's safe at the minute here. But yeah.
Yeah, the cities in particular, I don't think are considered safe anymore. It's just lawlessness now.
Yeah, no, it is. And, you know, freedom of speech and lots of other things that we hold dear are at stake. But thank you, Hisham, anyway. I really appreciate you coming on and waiting.
It was nice appearing on your channel, and yeah, it was nice having a chat.
Oh, well, thank you. You're welcome anytime I do a live stream, okay?
All right. Yeah.
All right, take care,
I've been
Hisham.
watching your videos for a while, like not from the beginning, but yeah, maybe like a year or so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all the support. All right. Well, take care, Hisham, and I'll speak to you soon, hopefully.
All right. See you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nuria. Bye-bye.
That's okay. Bye. Okie dokes. I think that's it. We've gone over the 2-hour mark, so I think that's a wrap from me. Again, I feel like I've got FOMO from the chat. I feel like it was lit and I missed it. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. Harris said something about 10 people being killed in, where was this? Yes, 10, could be even more. 2 suspects arrested. No details, so it's safe to assume illegals or Muslims. Oh, okay, wow, because they're holding back on some details. Was there a stabbing or a train incident or something? In Huntingdon. Okay, I need to catch up on what's just happened. So I guess I'll jump off the stream and have a look. What, London to Huntingdon? So I'm guessing there was like a train incident or something. Jesus. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Skyworks. I will stay strong and stay safe to the best of my ability. I'm really concerned about what's happened. Actually, it's on the BBC. Okay, I will go and check that. Yeah, not that, you know, they're the most reliable, and I'm sure they've held back on many a detail if it is what Harris is saying. But I will go and check now when I jump off this. When's your next live? Okay, good question, because going live is not really my ideal way of getting my point across. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it, because if you did, I will make this more of a regular thing. I just feel like it's not really my forte. If you guys think differently, let me know. And if you like this format of coming on and saying your piece and interacting, then I guess we could do this maybe once a month or something. So I guess this today was a good test case for whether this is an enjoyable format in addition to the usual type of videos that I release. So let me know in the comments. And if so, I run a real, true democracy. So the will of the people matters. So I will listen to whatever you guys want, genuinely. Maybe I'll do a poll in my community post and you can let me know if you'd prefer more of these. Thank you, though. Thank you to everybody who spent a portion of their Saturday evening with me. All the super chats, all the comments, all the conversations. Okay, yeah, we're getting good feedback. Thank you, Myri. You guys have all been amazing as well. I couldn't have done it without you. I can just clip my streams. Yeah, that's also a good format. I do like my more monologue-y videos as well, so maybe I'll do a bit of both. But yes, you too, J-Dub, take care. And wherever you are in the UK, please, exceptionally everybody, have your wits about you. Be safe. It is getting crazy out there. So yeah, I don't know. As a woman, we're still not allowed pepper spray. I've been sent many messages telling me to go and buy deep heat from the pharmacy because it works as effectively. So if you're a woman and you are fearing for your safety, or you walk home late at night for whatever reason, keep some deep heat in your bag. You can get it from any pharmacy. And again, whether you're, I mean, I don't know, the recent incidents have really shaken me to my core. I feel like nobody is safe. But let's end on a positive note. I'm getting even that bit closer to joining Advance. I might just do it this weekend. I know obviously Reform's going to win the next election, but I need something bigger to have my sights set on that could, change the direction of this country, because something has got to give. This can't go on. But yeah, okay, that's enough negativity from me. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their evening. I will finish my lovely Guinness, and I hope you all let your hair down, relax, maybe steer away from politics for a little bit, or the news, because it can be very bleak and very draining. And you all remind me that there is hope in this world still. And there are level-headed, rational people out there who just want the best for themselves and their country. And it's not a world full of hate and bigotry and lawlessness and terrorists and all of that jazz. So thank you for everyone who's been part of this 55K journey. And here's to 55K more. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.